adolescence. A boy sitting on the curb masturbating, and the priest says, a good Catholic boy should not be masturbating in front of the cathedral. He says, I'm not a Catholic and I'm not masturbating. And the priest says, well, I don't know whether you're a, I assumed you were a Catholic, but you're certainly masturbating. He says, no, I'm not. The priest says, well, what are you then? What are you doing? He says, I am a Christian Scientist and I'm having intercourse with my girlfriend in St. Louis. Virtual reality is bringing us there. And one program, which you cannot confuse with reality because this technology is still primitive, but in one program I walked through a city, went into an office, walked down the halls, got lost, finally found my way back out onto the street, jumped over a pyramid, jumped up in the air and entered a sphere floating above the city. And visually it was all very much like reality. Now they're working on, except I could tell it was computer graphics. But now they're starting to combine this with television, so it'll be harder to distinguish, especially with high-resolution TV. There are it's like electronic LSD. The major lesson of the social sciences in the 20th century is what I keep stressing in all my books. Every brain creates a different reality tunnel. Different social scientists have discovered this by different paths of investigation, and I've stated it in different metaphors, but anthropology, social psychology, individual psychology, depth psychology, sociology, communication theory, neurology, they all in one way or another recognize this. Every brain is creating its own reality tunnel. And then people go on acting as if their reality tunnel is the real one and everybody else is a little bit crazy. So the question is, how can we teach people to get over their early conditioning and imprinting, which makes them act as if their reality tunnel is real and everybody else's reality tunnel is some kind of psychotic delusion? And that has been the major question of the 20th century in the social science. How do we teach people to remember this? Anybody can understand it. You read any book on sociology, psychology, any of these fields, you get this lesson, and then you forget it and you go on acting like you didn't get it because you've been conditioned to act like your reality is the only reality. Well, in Harvard in the 1960s, they found out how to get people to really recognize that their reality tunnel is being created by their own brain. They did some amazing research. The Good Friday study in the chapel there, where they induced religious experiences in 80% of the subjects who got the LSD and in 0% of those who got the placebo. The Convict Rehabilitation Project, in which they took a whole bunch of convicts, and after release, none of them, well, not none of them, but the usual recidivism rate is 80%. Among the convicts in the LSD project, 80% of them did not commit new crimes, did not become recidivists. And in 1973, a follow-up study, as many of them as could be found, they were all still outside the walls. They were all still making their living in honest ways, and they were not back in prison. That's the greatest experiment in the history of behavior change. So naturally, everybody involved got fired, and the project was closed down, and pretty soon there was a law against any research to repeat that experiment or any experiment like it. And for protesting against this and fighting for scientific freedom, Dr. Leary got 5 years, and well, he got 37 years, of which he served 5.5. And other scientists in the field became as silent as moonlight on a gravestone. Until a few years ago, when they started to get their cojones back, and we were beginning to get protests from the scientific community about this interference with research. But meanwhile, the question is, okay, if we can't use acid, what can we use to teach people? And it seems virtual reality